Now to Your Vote 2024 coverage tonight. People vying to represent Minnesota in the U.S. Senate took to day 2 of Farmfest in Morgan today.
Our Matt Rainier joins us live in the studio after listening to the candidates discuss the future of the ag industry. Matt, what do they want voters to know?
Caitlin, Senator Amy Klobuchar and 6 other candidates took to the podium this morning to discuss current challenges for Minnesota farmers. There were 2 DFL, 3 Republicans, 1 independent, and 1 libertarian. They also spoke on how the state, as well as the country, can help better support one of its top ag producers. Each one of these candidates wants to represent Minnesotans in Washington. Today they gathered to discuss the big issues, like global trade for Minnesota farmers. DFL Senator and incumbent Amy Klobuchar argued how critical trade is to the state's ag industry, which is the 4th largest in the nation.
I also lead the Cuba bill to open up Cuba for our farmers, as long as we make the changes that are necessary on human rights and we make the changes that are necessary on getting the land back. That could be a huge market for Minnesota farmers.
While Klobuchar spoke on the opportunities that were available in the global market, her Republican counterparts thought differently. Republican Royce White was asked what should be done to support foreign trade for Minnesota ag. White argued that America should come first, citing protests that emerged in Europe due to tariffs.
America First is a very sensible and reasonable policy approach to many issues. It's not an extreme approach, it's not an extreme worldview.
The candidates did find some common ground when the topic centered on renewable fuels and energy for farmers.
You got to make sure you've got a strong renewable fuel standard. Grassley and I have long led the way on this, some through different administrations, different political parties, to push to make sure that renewable fuel standard works.
Both Klobuchar and Republican Joe Frazier argued in favor of the benefits of renewable fuels.
Well, I think biofuels are an amazing way to go for sustainable energy in the future. One of the biggest costs of military cost drivers is fuel. And if we can get to a sustainable fuel model and use homegrown products to create that fuel offset, we could actually start cutting defense spending when it comes to one of the most expensive commodities we use.
Libertarian Senate candidate Rebecca Whitening was also in on today's session. She weighed in on how many of the farmers that she has spoken with already, they don't use tractors that use renewable fuels. And she also added how if the market is in need of a type of fuel that is renewable for tractors, it could open up an avenue for it. Live here in the studio, Matt Rainier, KHTC News.